Hello to our digital family. Welcome back to your favorite trio sibling podcast. It is a tribe called Dhillon. I'm Angie Dhillon.
And I'm Rose Dhillon.
And I'm Alvin Dhillon.
And welcome back to another episode. Today we have a really cool topic. We're going to hold the suspense until we get through our win of the week segment. Over to you, Rose.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to take it back to the wedding. This was a win that I had written in my journal, and I was really proud of myself. During the wedding, we were drinking, we were all partying, and it came to one of the nights, everyone was like, let's take shots.
This is our cousin's wedding, right? The big 7 week long wedding
production that we had. And someone said, we're going to do shots. And I was like, yeah, I don't do shots. I'm like, no, you're going to do shots tonight. And I was like, no, I know myself. I don't do shots. So they poured the shots. They tried to force it down to me. And I realized I'm not going to be able to win with the 10 of them. So I just ran away, took off. I left the scene and came back 20 minutes later when they'd finished their shots and said, yep, I know my limit. I play within it. I'm someone who knows that I can only have a couple drinks. And now that you get older, you get wiser, you reflect, and you know that I have a 2, maximum 3 drink limit. And so I said no to shots, and I did not succumb to peer pressure.
Good girl.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Good for you.
Job.
Thank you.
I think what happens...
The old me would have succumbed to it.
Yeah. And I think what happens is, and I'm an observer because I'm not much of a drinker, but I think when people are drinking together, that peer pressure, that amp, like do it, and that mob mentality kind of comes in and you succumb and you're like, okay, just gonna do it. But it takes a lot to just walk away from the situation and say, you all get wasted, but I'm gonna be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good
and
for
I'm
you.
pretty sure I was one of those people in the background. Even I wasn't drinking. I was like, do it.
You're one of the
Mob
hecklers in the
mentality.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you, Rose.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When in doubt, just run away.
Yeah.
Yep.
And no means no. And people have to respect your
when I realized
boundaries.
there's too many of them for me to keep saying no because they're forcing it, just take off. And just remove yourself from the situation, then come back 20 minutes later.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. And I just took off.
And they probably didn't even remember because they're probably wasted
2 seconds
themselves,
later,
right?
they forgot.
Yeah. And you got to set boundaries with yourself, and boundaries are in place for you. Remember?
Exactly.
Good. That's a great win.
Thank you.
And Al, you?
I got a good win. This is actually involves one of my cousins. So usually every year he takes on the responsibility of planning like a brother's. We like to go out and see a comedy show. Because we all said before, as we're getting a little bit older, like we're not in the mood to go to clubs and bars and do this nonsense because half of us are not want to go to get drunk on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. So he just said, okay, we're going to start making an outing together, which would be a comedy show. He's like, some people can have a few drinks. We'll go out for dinner after and we'll call it a night. So he planned one this year. And before when he did, he would give us about a month notice. And this time when I told him, I was like, we need longer notice than that. So he gave us 6 months notice.
Wow.
The show was in this first week of December. And he let us all know that, but he put us in a group chat. So we're all assuming we'll all pay for our own tickets. This is how it usually goes. So I invited a few extra people and I said, we need to get this many tickets, about 10 or 11. So he had no problem. He's like, I went to go order it, but they're only allowing me to order 6 on my credit card. He's like, can you buy the rest? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. He's like, I'll send you the money. So then when I ordered it, I let him know I got the tickets. He said, okay, sure, I'm going to send you over an e-transfer. I was like, yeah, just deduct my ticket price out of it. He's like, yeah, okay. So he just sends me over like $250, which is more than what the tickets were. And I messaged him back. I was like, hey man, you sent me more. He's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to let you know. I was like, I don't know why people keep messaging me, but he's like, this outing is on me. He's like, and I was like, oh man, that's so nice. I was like, I didn't know that. He was like, yeah. He's like, stop insulting me with telling me you guys want to pay me back and stuff. I was like, well, I feel insulted that you're insulted. So I just said, I was like, okay, no problem. I was like, well, I said it to him, but I know I'm going to do it after. I was like, I'll just even it out once we go meet up. But I said, I'm not going to drink. So I was like, I'll drive one car and we can get at least 4 extra people with me too. So that'll help out. You guys can go and drink and have some fun. So I was like, that's my way to kind of pay him back, but I'll also cover some of the
That's great.
That's really nice. That's very generous of him.
And if he does hear this part, he'll probably be upset about that, but it will happen.
That's great. And you know what great leadership skill on our cousin's part to say, you know what, I'm going to organize an event and all the time, and to keep the bond with the brothers.
He's always done that too. He's always like trying to keep everyone together. It's just sometimes I don't go to all of them because they turn into a big drinking fest. So sometimes I'm just like, okay, this is too much for me.
But I feel like now with you, Al, that you set your boundaries and your intentions and you've told everyone like, listen, it's not for me right now. I'm taking a break. I think everyone respects that.
Yeah.
And they want you to
totally
get
understand.
out.
Yeah. And thank God for that new Corona 0.0. Those are really, they help out when you're surrounded by people drinking. And when you don't have nothing in your hand, people will forget after about an hour or two when they're drunk. So you just have something in your hand. Like, oh, you're drinking beer too. I'm like, oh, these are so good.
No, I agree. And I think all it takes is one one person in the group to say, hey, I'm not drinking. Because I bet you sometimes in the group when you're with people, everyone else is thinking the same thing, but nobody wants to be that one to say, hey, I'm not drinking. So if you say it, you kind of open up the dialogue for everyone saying, yeah, you know what? Let's make this an alcohol-free night. Let's just have a good time.
And he goes through his cycle too. When he's not drinking, he's like, oh, it's been like 3 or 4 months I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
But he still goes out and has fun, but it doesn't mean like you're going to go and becoming a drinking fest.
Great. That's great. You're gonna have to fill us in when you go to the event.
We're going to see Jesselneck. So it's this guy, like I'd never heard of him until he told me about it. And he always discovers these kind of people before they're becoming famous. Because we saw another comedian a few years ago, which now he's big time. And I seen his stuff. It's pretty funny, like a little dark sometimes, but very funny. Like got good storytelling. And he'll become probably the next big thing in a couple years too. So I love seeing them when they're in small venues before they make it big.
Yeah, I agree. My win of the week is, so a couple of weeks ago, I showed you that I made a purchase of a outdoor roller skate. Yep. And I was on the quest to find a pair of indoor roller skates. Roller skates? Roller skates. Guess what? Drum roll again. Boom. Look what I got. Don't these look nice? I feel like they almost look like a hockey player. Like those.
They're really pretty.
Yeah. So I got a pair of, these are indoor roller skates because you can't, like I said, use indoor, outdoor, and vice versa. So these are specifically for an indoor skating rink that I will one day be coming to a skating rink near you, and you will see me, try to roller skate.
So you're just going to like roll around your bedroom then for now?
No, you know what I actually do right now is in my rec room downstairs, I go back and forth because it's hardwood floor, and I'm finding the balancing because that's what it is, right? I'm able to stop, but I'm not ready for pavement yet. Baby steps.
The good thing is if you damage any drywall, it can always be fixed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because we've got a guy here who knows how to do that.
I put chairs on both sides, so the most I can do is ram into a chair and have cushions behind it because I don't want to damage anything. So, that's the OCD me and the preparation. I've got a pillow behind it, so I will go that way. It's scary. It's exciting. I got the butterflies again, and it took me back to when I was a kid. And I'm like, that's exactly the intent and the rationale behind why I bought the roller skates, was to kind of create that yummy feeling of when I was a child, that euphoria, that euphoria.
Yeah.
Right? Nostalgia. Like yeah. Okay, let's get into today's episode, because sometimes we jab on for too long, I find. And then I'm like, dang it, we only talked about that episode for 10 minutes. We get too excited in our own conversation.
Talk about regular stuff.
Sorry to our viewers and listeners. Sometimes we just get carried away. And if we do get carried away, tell us sometimes, like, hey,
wrap it up.
Yep. Go back to that episode. We want to know more about it. We actually had one of our uncles told us during the wedding time, love this uncle from California. And he came out and said, hey, your episodes are too short. I want more. You have to give me more. And I turned around and I said to this uncle, I said, Uncle, the average attention span of most individual or just people in general are between 10 to 15 minutes. So the fact that we're pushing out 25 to 30 minute content and they're heavy sometimes, I feel that we're not capturing everyone's full undivided attention, hence why we make the episode shorter. But if you feel that our episodes should be longer, let us know. Yeah. And if you don't, then we'll know to keep them short and brief. No news is good news, right? Yes. Okay. I'm super excited about this content here. So for those of you that watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette this September, well, by the time this airs, this episode will come out. So it's ABC that has come out with a new concept for the very first time. They're introducing a segment called the Golden Bachelor. You guys know what that means? Mm-hmm.
I've heard about this.
Okay, so it's going to be the oldest bachelor in the history of the Bachelor segment.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. His name is Gerry Turner. He's 71 years old. He looks like a G.
He looks good.
He looks like that. What's that guy from Baywatch?
Yes. David, was it Hasselhoff?
David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff. I'm like, this guy's 71. I want to know his beauty secrets and stuff, too. Right? Yeah. Full set of hair. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, he looks pretty GQ.
Now, without going too much and without revealing too much on this episode here, because I do want, our listeners and our viewers to at least tune in and give this guy a chance. Their backstory is his wife passed away a couple years ago.
6 years ago.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You already did the background on
Yep,
him.
I did
Okay.
the background.
And they made a promise to each other that no matter what happened, they wanted them to be happy. So if it meant finding another partner in the end, then that's what they wanted their partners to do. So the fact that he's going out and being vulnerable at 71 as the oldest bachelor in the history of the Bachelor production and of this whole entire, I guess, what do you call this? Like the, what is it? Is it a series? The franchise. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The whole entire episode, the fact that he's being vulnerable and going out there, it's amazing. I haven't watched The Bachelor and The Bachelorette in a long time just because I wasn't able to connect to it. Everybody's much younger than me. I just found it a little too immature.
I had heard some backstories behind it too about like they feeding them alcohol and getting them to do wild stuff. It just didn't jive with me either.
Those shows, so
and I just
felt here for the guy that this is interesting because
this is interesting.
He
This to
doesn't
me,
first of all look 71, and that the fact that now they're starting to change their tune, the narrative they're catering to their demographic. So that's really cool.
And you know what? You're never too old to find love.
No, and I think finding love when you get older is actually more beautiful because you appreciate it than when you're, at least for me, I know when you're younger.
And it gives hope for the older generation, right? The younger generation, we know that, you know what, it's not too hard to find love. You can go on Tinder or, you know, go on those Bumble and you can find love. But it's really hard when you get to a certain age to try and find someone with substance, someone that has a lot of things in common with you or shares the same value system. So we're super excited to see Gerry Turner's journey through The Bachelor. And we will probably every couple of weeks, perhaps maybe do a segment recap when it airs.
Yeah. This is the first time, again, I don't watch that show. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, I did as well. But when this came into my feed, I was like, this is interesting. This is, you know, like you said, changing the narrative. And what I really appreciate about his story is his wife passed away from cancer 6 years ago. So she was sick for a while before she, you know, passed away. And 6 years is a lot of time. I think he's given himself enough time to grieve and heal from that. And then now say, okay, you know what? My children are all older. I don't have any other responsibilities. It's time for me to see if I can, you know, last small, short life. He maybe have 10 years, 20 years to see if he can find love again. I think it's beautiful.
The way he's going, he might go till he's 90, good 25 years, I'd say.
Yeah. And he's taking a big step because instead of finding love, they're coming to find him. Yeah. He's just standing there and he's got 30 girls or how many are lined up for him. So good job, Gerry. This player's going to play.
And I love the fact that ABC's doing this. Finally, some things are changing and people are challenging.
Martha on sports, and now we're talking about Gerry Turner at 71. All right, we see you, Hollywood. We see what's happening.
It's not even Hollywood. I just think it's just mainstream media is changing now. Yep. There's a shift going on, right? I agree. Okay, so let's get into our questions here. Okay, you guys have kind of answered this, but let's go to Al. What do you think about this concept by ABC?
I think it's really cool.
You think it's going to work?
It's they needed a change. If you think about how many seasons they've had, like 13, 20, they needed something different. And given our current landscape of what's going on in the media and the industry, people need to see something different, not just the standard 29-year-old, 30-year-old bachelor that's looking for somebody or looking for love. Let's show them someone that's taking care of themselves. And this is what you could potentially look at 71 years old if you kind of follow this guy's steps of taking care of himself and his health, because he looks pretty dreamy.
It's coming from Al here. Yeah. Rose, what do you think about this concept by ABC? You think it's going to work? You think they're going to do more seasons like this?
Absolutely. I think right now with the divorce rate being as high as it's ever been in human history, I think it's 55% they're saying we're reaching. People are breaking up. We need to know that, okay, if it didn't work out, there's still hope for me. I think people think once you get to a certain age, like, oh, it's over for you. You're not going to be able to find love again. And so for him to go out there and put himself out there to say, hey, let's give it a try and do it in front of the world. It's pretty brave at 71. I don't know if I would be that brave at that age.
Yeah. I originally watched the very first Bachelor, and it was with Ryan and Trista when they first got married. They're still together. Yeah. And after that, I just found it became more like reality TV. Yeah. It just didn't seem authentic for me, and I just didn't get it. And I think a lot of people were using the Bachelorette platform as a stepping stone for a career and perhaps showbiz. So I just didn't find that people were genuinely coming for love.
Yes.
So with this spin, I feel like there's no way that he's coming for anything but that, because he's lived a full life. Yeah. And he's coming to find a life partner or companion now to spend the rest of his time with on this planet. So for me, I am rooting for you, Gerry. Yeah. I'm super excited. I think we're going to do a bachelor like viewing parties or something. You know, people do that. I know friends friends that do that?
I probably won't be there for that one, but I'll be there in spirit.
No,
Yeah.
you're coming. You have to root for Gary.
No, I'll read for him. I'll watch the highlights. Like, I honestly can't watch that.
I can't
whole
watch
thing.
the show either.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you.
it's-
I can't either.
Oh, damn. It's just going to be me and the listeners and the viewers.
I will follow up for the highlights of it, but you're right. It's just, I mean, I'm hoping these women are in their, but probably 50s to 60s. He's going for age appropriate women. So I would hope that women in their age, at that age, are not as wild. But then again, you made me watch The Housewives of New York. Those women in their 50s and they're wild as hell. And I'm like, okay, so maybe wisdom doesn't necessarily come with age.
True. I have to agree with that. Okay, so now that you both said that you might not watch it when it debuts, what's your reason for that?
No, I'll probably watch maybe just the
very
with you guys,
debut,
but
yep.
there's like 20 episodes of that thing.
And you know that it's TV, you know, so they're gonna have to put some mirch masala to that show.
Some crazy
they're gonna have to
happy.
make one woman too drunk, throw in a crazy, they're gonna do all this for the ratings to get it going, which they don't need to do because I think he brings the ratings himself. How cool it is! I would hope ABC makes this authentic, but it's already been taped and done with. So for me, the cool part was just that they took this leap of faith of putting someone that old. I mean, they could have gone 50, right? 50 is reasonable. See, 71 is pretty up there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm a hopeless romantic. I am a sucker for love. So I'm going to be watching all the episodes and I'm going to be reporting back, and Gary's win are going to be my win. Okay. So we are going to talk about the win of the week. So Gary, whatever, wins he has, they're going to be replicated on the show because his win is my win. And at the end of the day, it's all for love. So I'm going to be watching it and rooting for him. So I'm excited about that. Okay, let's talk about why is finding love? Is it important? Do you think it's important? At his age, like, should he go back and look for love?
Okay, so I don't like to say the word looking for love because I think the love is within you and you can ignite that or turn that off as you please. But finding a companion, I think is definitely important in your last cycle of life. You want to have someone with you when you get those scary phone calls of like, I got to go in and get a test done and they found something off my blood work. There's nothing more beautiful than having someone with you by your side, holding your hand to go through that. So yes, he's 71. Yes, he looks great, but we don't know what really his day-to-day is and how he feels. I think, why not? Why not go and try to see if you can find someone to go through the last journey of your life with another companion? It doesn't replace his wife. It's just going to be now another experience that he gets to have before he leaves this planet.
Yeah, good answer. You, Al?
I would agree with that. I don't see why someone should have to be at that age and live their life alone, because they say that, I think one of the biggest factors, which I have to get stats on, is that a lot of people die early due to loneliness because they have no one else to talk to. They're in their head. They're either consuming bad TV or bad content, and it's building up more anxiety in their head, and they have no one to release it to, because generally, if you have a good partner too, they help you relieve your anxiety. They help you relieve your stresses, and they help lift your mood up when you're down, and it's vice versa. So I think it's very crucial for your mental health and for your overall level of happiness and enjoyment of life that he should be, I'm not saying finding it, but he should find a partner that's that he can have things in common with, and they can go spend time with, and he's not alone. So I'm rooting for Gary.
Yeah. I had a friend tell me that works in healthcare that said that people that are in relationships and healthy relationships live longer than those that are not in healthy relationships.
I've seen a lot of studies on that too. Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Okay. This next question, the reason I'm talking about this question is because I think it's important for us to address it as we're Indians, and in our culture, there's a lot of things that are taboo when a partner passes away. So what I want to know is, what about cultural taboos about not getting married after your partner dies? How do you feel about that? Because I'm talking from what I've observed in our family, in other people's family, and through friends and families. A lot of times in our culture, it doesn't matter what your age is, but if your partner dies, it's almost instinctively that you're not allowed, or you shouldn't go out and find love again. You're supposed to meant to grieve, and not be happy and not live a, happy life looking for love again. So I disagree with that, but I want to know what both of your take is on that in our culture.
I think, I don't know if this still happens in India, but I know reading about this many, many, many years ago. It was like sati, right? It was a thing when the husband passed away, they would burn the wife. She would have to die because your husband's gone. You're no longer allowed to live. I'm told that there's still certain villages in India that still practice this. So we have come a long way with in the Indian society that understands that a woman can still live after her partner has passed away. But you're right, that's just such an outdated. I can't adapt to understand why that because your partner's passed away that you no longer can experience a partner again. That the logic doesn't make sense to me. I think that once your partner's gone, you take the time to grieve because you shared a life with this person. I don't think it's healthy that my husband passed away or my wife passed away and within 6 months I've got someone new, because you're really just numbing now and you're trying to replace something. So you're not really doing the inner work healing. You're just kind of transferring all this to the new person, which is not fair to the new person. Take the time to heal, grieve. 6 years in Gerry's, I think it's more than a sufficient amount of time to grieve and then be prepared to move forward with your life and try to see if you can find someone to go through life with. Why not? If he doesn't, but at least he's trying.
Yeah.
Right.
That's well said. I would totally agree with that. I don't see why that if your partner dies, you essentially should die with them.
Right.
Like, not physically, but spiritually and emotionally, you're gone too. Like, I don't think that's right. If you're like 90 and your partner is like dies at like 91, I don't think it's worth it, and you have the juice to go through all that. You're probably going to be on your way out pretty soon. But there's a reasonable amount of time. Someone passes away, you get it a few years. You've grieved, you've worked through the motions, and you're not like bitter or upset. You're ready to meet someone new. Why not? Like, I don't see why not. I think that's needs to happen like in all cultures. There needs to have that cultural shift to say, when someone passes away, it's okay. And especially if your kids are giving you the blessing too, to say, no, you need to go find someone, because I think human beings, we're all connected as emotionally, spiritually to people, whether we like it or not. And that's how we communicate. Like you said, when you're around people or good people, you feel the vibes right off the bat. Even if you haven't said a word to each other, just sitting there watching a movie, I'm with good company. So I think that I'm totally for that. I think you shouldn't have to feel bad about it, and you should feel that you should be encouraged to say, you've had enough time now. Like, you don't want to live alone. And when you do have family, that's great, but people do live separately. They're not in your face all day, every day. And sometimes you also want your space, but you need a partner.
Yep, 100%.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think part of the reason that we did this podcast is to start talking about these generational stuff that have been carried through our parents' generation and their generation into our generation. And do these things serve a purpose anymore? I don't think it does, because I know, offhand, I don't want to obviously say any names, but I know people that have lost their partners at really early ages, 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I know that they haven't gone to look for love, or they haven't looked at the option to reconsider even finding a partner. Or if they do, the biggest thing they think is, what is everybody else going to say in the family? What is, society going to say? And I say, screw what society has to say, and screw what your own family has to say. You do what makes you happy at the end of the day, because when you look in that mirror, you only have to answer to yourself. And if your soul is happy at the end of the day and you don't think you're doing anything wrong, that's all that matters. When I look back now and I look at our parents, I know that dad always has this conversation sometimes jokingly with mom. And he said this to us that, if I go before your mom goes, I want, whenever your mom is ready, that I want her to be happy. And if it means that, it doesn't mean that mom's going to go out and get remarried again. It just means that mom might find a companion in the form of a male companionship. And the three of us are okay with that.
Absolutely. And he's given his blessing to her on several occasions that, if I go before you, you have my absolute blessing to find yourself a companion to live.
Yes. Yeah. And I think more of that kind of dialogue needs to happen in our parents' generation and our culture, that it's okay if my time is up, and, by a certain time, unfortunately, nowadays with cancer and all these other illnesses out there, people's life expectancy is being cut short. So have these conversations when you're alive with your loved ones and say, listen, if my time is up, I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you, there's a certain grieving period of time. Like if you go find Sally or, or Jad or somebody within 2 weeks, I'm going to come from the other side and push you off the bed. A reasonable amount of time that has passed, you should be entitled to go and be happy and live your life and your dying days with somebody. That's my take on that.
Put it in the will. Write it in the will.
Yeah, but I just want, I think we're trying to change the narrative and talk about these things, because I see so much of this in other cultures as well. And I never understand that. And it's always the woman that has to suffer.
Yeah.
Because the men always a lot of times go back and they find partners, but the women naturally
it's a double standard for sure.
It's a double standard in our culture. And the woman is supposed to grieve and be sad and, and that's not what
wear
life.
White at all times now. She's no longer allowed to wear
and they
color.
can't have a boyfriend or they can't talk to someone. What will people say? I'm going to tell you something. Newsflash. People are going to talk about you whether you like it or not. So just deal with it. And at the end of the day, you only got to answer to yourself. That's all I'm going to say. That's my 2 cents.
And now that you said that, I got to say, I am so blessed and grateful to be born as a man. Man, crisis averted. Yeah.
A good one, Al.
Okay. Anyways, now we were getting a little serious there, but I'm passionate about this, right? And this was a topic that when I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, you would never see or hear about an Indian bachelor. You probably wouldn't, because it's just in our culture, we don't do stuff like this. But we got to start opening up the dialogues for to our parents sometimes, or if you have an aunt or an uncle and you know that a certain amount of time has passed by and they don't have a companion, you know what? It's not all, love and intimacy. Sometimes it's honestly just playing a puzzle. It's watching a movie together or going out for dinner. It's those simple, mundane things that bring joy into a person's life. So, talk to your, if you know someone that hasn't moved on or doesn't want to move on, and find out the reason why. And each of us has a part to play in bringing joy and happiness or restoring it back into someone's life.
Yes.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that said, we are rooting for Gerry Turner. Let's do a shout out to Gerry.
Shout out, Gerry. Good luck on your journey.
Good luck, Gerry. We're rooting for you.
Go on, player.
Yeah. And we are going to watch your journey and we're going to report back from one hopeless romantic to another, because he's got to be a hopeless romantic if he's still looking for love.
Absolutely.
I wish you nothing but success and love. And I truly hope that you find someone that is going to make you happy. So with that said, the tribe is signing off. We are going to be back again next week. And let us know what you think about Gerry Turner. If you think that what ABC is doing is super edgy and super cool. Until next week, friends, stay safe. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.
Bye.